This is hockey, the way it should be. Welcome to the Rockin' Hockey Show.
Come on, come on, come on. Raise your stick. Woo. Yeah. All right, pump your fist. Woo. Yeah. All right.
Quite a game. Down 2-0 in a championship game. The Young Stars put the team on their shoulders and made it 2-1 with their first goal. And it was a beauty.
I want to sweat from my brow. My God, it's happening now. If I could just figure out, I got it. I know it takes time.
It's the Rockin' Hockey Show!
Welcome to the Rockin' Hockey Show, and now the guy who took the last cookie without telling me, Coach Dave. Hey, what's up, hockey and rock and roll fans? This is the Rockin' Hockey Show. We got rockin' hockey content and kick music to back it up.
So we say you like to rock, and say you like to hop. See you take it all the way to the back of the cage.
This show is not only about hockey, but it's about youth hockey, high school hockey, junior hockey, college hockey, and yes, even pro hockey. We got great interviews, we got great skits, we got great hockey content and on-ice skill development for players of all ages. Because this is the Rockin' Hockey Show. Before we even get started, make sure you subscribe, make sure you tell all your friends about it. Don't forget to watch us also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hey, hockey and rock and roll fans, I want to take just a second to welcome Trotta to the Rockin' Hockey family. Check out the newly renovated Trotta 2.0 right off of 490 at Cobbs Hill at the new Culver Road Armory. TrottaRochester.com. 2 outdoor dining areas, including a massive upstairs patio with a full bar. Man, you got to check out their 100 square foot TV wall above the main bar and an additional 8 large screen TVs throughout. And make sure you partake in the self-serve beer wall with over 50 beer and wine selections. TrottaRochester.com. I want to thank our last guest, Francois Mathat, for being on the show. Great interview with him about his story growing up playing hockey and some of the struggles he went with to continue to play at a high level. Great information for players and parents of all ages on how to watch your child develop properly. Whether you're in the penalty box, whether you're in the stands, whether you're playing, even if you're driving a Zamboni or working in the snack bar, this is the hockey show for you. Before we talk about the show, let's say hi to the band. All right, keep rocking, fellas. Man, we got a great show for you today. We got longtime NHL veteran and 30-goal scorer in NHL, as well as American Hockey League color commentator and head coach in the WNHL, Ric Seiling, right here in the Rockin' Hockey Lair. Ric's going to sit down with us. He's going to talk about his development as a youth player. He's going to talk about how he raised his kids to have fun playing hockey. And he's going to talk about how to be a goal scorer.
Picked off by Ramsey. An open net. Seiling. 5 seconds. He scores! Ric Seiling puts it away for the Buffalo Sabres with 3 seconds to go.
And for all you young players out there and hockey parents, Ric's going to talk about what it takes to be a goal scorer, not just in the NHL, but even at the youth level. All the things he did, and he's going to pass that knowledge on to you.
And the pass over to Perro. Perro looking for the pass. Over goes to Seiling. Gets control. Running up and he scores! Ric Seiling fired it off. A Nordique stick in the goal crease. And Seiling has put Buffalo back into the lead. It's 4-3.
Seiling just takes himself out of position. Now watch Peter Stastny in front of the net. And there it bounces in off his right leg as Seiling from an impossible angle.
Don't miss today's skill development session because we got another episode of Skate to Be Great right here in the backyard rink at the Rockin' Hockey Lair. So let's quit wasting time. Buckle up your chin strap, tape your shin guards, tape your ankles, whatever you got to do. Make sure your stick is taped because we're going to be doing some goal scoring today. And let's get at it. We got NHL veteran Ric Seiling. We got Rob Ray. We got Go With The Flow. We got Rockin' Hockey News with Quinn Craven. We got Skate to Be Great and our on-ice skill development session. And like always, we got great music from Lord Stanley's brother.
And if I had a chance to be with you, I would stay. Ever do you say?
We got a ton of highlight clips starting with this one from the real Jack Knapp. Way to start the show, Jack, with a great goal, and we got tons and tons of highlight videos from all you fans out there. Sending in your highlight clips. Continue to send them in. Great hits, great plays, and great goals. So let's quit wasting time because this is a show where the hockey rocks and the music sucks.
Pace is moving.
Today's interview brought to you by Trotta. Check them out at trottarochester.com. Welcome to the Rockin' Hockey Show. I'm your host, Dave Maximill. We are here with NHL veteran Ric Seiling. Great to have you on the show, Rick.
Glad to be here, Dave.
Rick, over 700 NHL games. You coach pro for, I think, 6 years. You're coaching the Buffalo Buttes in the WNHL now. You've been a broadcaster for 14 years. I get there, 14 years?
Yeah, 14 plus.
It's a lot of hockey. You sick of it or you still love it?
Well, you know what? I never grew up wanting to be a hockey player.
Really?
People ask me, and I've never wanted to be a hockey player. My family was into harness racing, and that's what I grew up wanting to do. And what the thing was, I was playing a game, and it just was fun. And that's why I kept playing.
No kidding.
I never thought about being in the NHL. And you know, when the draft day came around, you see all these elaborate drafts that they have now. Mine was the only year they were going to do the new and improved way over the phone.
Really?
Only year.
1970?
1977.
77.
And yeah, don't make me older than I am.
I was done
Granted, I did wear these skates and those skates when
And these are
growing up.
probably your gloves too, right?
And I had gloves just like that too, yeah. But they got a phone call from an agent. My agent at the time, he said, you were drafted. He said, you're going to get a call from the general manager. You're going to get a call from the press. You're going to call from the owners. I said, well, what team? He said, Buffalo. Of course. I'm like, really? He said, what round? First. Oh, okay.
14th overall, right? I think.
Yeah, and so it was like everybody knew it but me. Family was living on a horse farm, and I was sitting in the house waiting for phone calls.
So you
That
never
was
got
it.
your picture with your jersey on or anything?
None of it.
Wow.
None of it. The only year they ever did that, and that was my draft year.
Hey, I want to take a break from the interview to say hi to all of our friends at Pirani's Hockey World. Now, check out this highlight reel goal by Nathan Fink as he goes end to end and buries the biscuit. Great goal, Nathan. Keep up the great work. Now back to the interview. Now you're still playing a lot of hockey. You and I play together. We've been playing together for many years now. You seem like you still love the game. You must if you're still playing several times a week. I mean, tell me about your love for the game that keeps you going after all this time.
Well, I think that the one thing that if you talk to a lot of retired players, the one thing they miss is the camaraderie. It's not necessarily going out and scoring goals and winning championships or anything like that. It's about being around other people. It's about relating to them on a different level. You're not in the office. You're not on the street. You're not at home. It's more of a fun situation. You can laugh at yourself when you mess up. You can laugh at yourself when you make a great play. And you can just laugh at yourself for any other reason.
Yeah.
It's a game. I mean, money has taken the higher levels and made it more of a business. But up till you make that point, it's still a game.
Right.
And I mean, when my sons played, I have two sons, I only had two questions for them. At the start of the season, do you want to play hockey? And after every game and every practice, I only had one other question. did you have fun? And that was the only question I ever asked them. And that.
Now, switch gears. You played with some great players in your time. You know, French Connection obviously is some of those players. Tell me what it was like playing with somebody like Gilbert Perreault, Hall of Famer.
You know, when you're a 19-year-old kid and you're on a two-man breakaway and Perreault's leading you from the blue line in, and he yanks Jerry Cheevers right out of the net. The net's wide open. Cheevers is going that way. Perreault is going that way. And I'm just following down the middle in case there happened to have been a rebound.
Right.
And he drops the puck back to me. He has an empty net. He drops the puck back to me. How much more class do you have in that?
Yeah. Good thing your stick wasn't up in the air.
I learned that one real early.
We're going to talk about that later, but you played in Detroit for a year. Some great players there. Steve Yzerman, Gerard Gallant. You know, just some fantastic players. Fun to play with those guys too.
It was a great time in Detroit. My 1 year there, it was a great team atmosphere. Guys like Stevie Yzerman, his nickname was Silk because he's so smooth, and he was a class act as a player, as a captain. Jerry Gallant is coaching the Las Vegas right now. If you ask him, he'll tell you he's a first-round pick. And then a couple minutes later, he'll tell you it was the first round after lunch. And because that's what he was. He was a third rounder.
Right.
But another phenomenal player.
Now, you're from Elmira, Ontario.
Yes.
Pretty small town.
Very small town. Nobody locked their doors. You knew everybody's first name.
Tell me about growing up playing hockey as a kid there. Did you do much of it or just harness racing?
No, we never got into harness racing till, I'm going to say I was probably 13 when we got into it. Very small town, lived behind the racetrack, but on the other side of the racetrack was the rink. So I could go to the barn, do my chores, then I'll head to the rink. I was fortunate. My father was the head of the minor hockey and the rec council, and so he had a key to the building.
Nice.
When school was out, they let everybody on the ice. So you had 50 kids on the ice.
Wow.
With one puck. You got two teams,
You
but
learned some good puck protection skills.
But since you don't know who's on your team, you just kept it.
Yeah.
And you go as far and as long as you could, but because we had the key, they would let those kids in at 10. We'd be over there at 8. My brother and I, and if there was somebody that was living with us from the junior C team back then, we'd be on the ice at 8. And then we'd get 4 hours on the ice instead of 2, and it was fortunate that way, but to be able to do that. But again, it was just always a fun thing. It was never forced upon us that we had to play hockey. And, you know, after my first year junior, I was going to stay home and do the horses. My father said, fine. It was two of my 3 older brothers that talked me into going back. So my one brother said, oh, you want to do the horses? Well, hockey's going to help you get your horses. Okay. But the other one is the one that taught me, that made the question to me. He said, look, one day you're going to be sitting at the end of the bar like you have over here, watching the NHL playoffs, and you're going to wonder, could I have played?
Could I have? Should I have? Yeah.
He said, go make it. Play one game. And if you want to quit, then quit.
Yeah.
And but again, having fun, and I had the benefit of having a lot of guys, guys like Freddie Stanfield, Ronnie Schock, veteran players that have been around, and they sit there and they go, hey kid, watch this, do that. When you're in practice, and you're dogging a little bit, they're on you a little bit. They're on you. But the fact is, they taught, and that's the big thing is they taught me how to be a better hockey player, how to be a better person, and that is so invaluable, for young people to pick up from former players.
That's great. Hey, we're taking another break from the interview to check out this overtime winner, highlight reel rockin' hockey goal by Ryan Alexander. Great goal, Ryan. Keep on rocking. Back to the interview. How do you see, your snapshot of youth hockey? Is it quality hockey that's going to produce quality players, you think? Or you think it's similar, completely different?
Well, I think the skill sets, the focus is skating and puck handling now, more so than it may have been over years ago.
Do you see the same passion in young kids today that you saw or that you had when you played when you were a young kid? Now, obviously, the times are different. There's a lot of distractions. There's a lot of other things for kids to do now other than just go outside and play on the pond or play in a driveway. video games and whatnot, there's just a lot of other things for kids to do. Do you think they still have the same passion that you guys had in your era?
I don't think so. I really don't. As you said, there's a lot of other things going on. The advent of video games. There was, we never had an indoor pool. Back home, they do now. We didn't have a lot of things that back then. So really, in the wintertime, that's all you did.
Right.
In the summertime, we played ball hockey. In the wintertime, we played ice hockey. We also played baseball and everything else. We didn't stick to one sport. We don't play it 20 or 12 months of the year. The thing of it is, and I really, if any parents are watching this, make sure your kid has fun. Because this happens to me, this conversation happens to me several times where, well, my son was great, and then all of a sudden he quit. Well, let me guess, he was about age 16. How did you know? Because now he's done playing for you.
Yeah.
He's at the age that he can make decisions, and now he's got other things that he's more interested in. He's driver's license, girls, other sports, whether it be lacrosse or something else in football and school. He wants to play these other sports, but up to this point, he's been playing for mom and dad because, or one of the two, and now they can make decisions, and it really hasn't been that fun because there's been so much pressure on them.
Yeah. Pressure and too much. Talk a little bit about something that you were especially good at when you played, scoring goals. You were a 30-goal scorer in NHL, which to me is unbelievable. It's amazing. Anybody that can put up those kind of numbers in the NHL is obviously a hero of mine. But you did it you had big numbers for several seasons. Tell me what comes to mind when you think about scoring goals, and then let's take that and how do we teach that to a young kid?
Repetition. It's the biggest thing. And again, when I was coaching the girls hockey team, so many players don't spend time making it, just like a golf swing. It's muscle memory. And, we would take pucks, piles of pucks, and just inside the face-off dot. Pick that bottom corner. Go hit it 10 times before you move to another corner. And you move that to the middle, then to the other side. It's got to get to the point where you don't have to look and you don't have to think. You just know where it's going. And that to me is key, because I see so many guys that even in the AHL, they don't spend time after practice. I mean, in the NHL, in my last year, guys would stay on the ice after practice and do it because it's muscle memory, and that's where your good goal scorers. It becomes natural, not because they're just a natural shooter,
right?
But they've shot buckets of pucks,
Hey, we're taking another break from the interview to check out Emma Dowell in her highlight skating reel as she works on her stride and her leg strength. That's it. Good. Stride and glide. Excellent. Good. Keep going. Good. I love it. Stride and glide. Keep your chest up. Great work, Emma. Keep it up. Now back to the interview. So we're talking about goal scoring, and you're talking about repetition, muscle memory. Any other tips that a young player can take away from this on how to be a better goal scorer?
Well, again, it's muscle memory, repetition, also skill with handling the puck. Okay, you've got to be able to pick those corners. You got to be able to get that puck up in tight areas. And again, it's just practice. Find out what and I'll tell you what. Find out what you're weak at, and practice that. That's the best tip I can give anybody. But I really do appreciate you remembering me scoring a few goals, because
nobody else remembers.
People in Buffalo all remember me as a defensive player, and I'll tell you a little story that most people don't know. Is I had scored my 30 goals the one year, and the next year I had 22 at Christmas.
Really?
And right after Christmas, I took a stick in the eye. I lost my dominant eye. I played the last 6 years of my career blind in one eye.
No kidding.
And I couldn't tell anybody, because the NHL said you had to have vision in both eyes.
Really?
And I was legally blind in my left eye.
Did the team know, or?
No. Which was my dominant eye, because this was my shooting eye to see the net, and this was my eye to see the puck. And now I had to do this to be able to see the net.
Wow.
And I would lose it down here. So if you look at my goal scoring, it started doing this. And, if I wanted to stay in the league,
That's when you had to be a better defensive player.
I had to be a better defensive player. But a lot of people didn't know that about it. And also, your half shield that you wear nowadays, first player in the NHL to wear it full time.
You were?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Because for that reason.
Wow. Here's another quick break and another great goal by Wesley Maximew. And yes, another highlight reel play by our very own Wesley Maxmew. This time, it's not a goal, but it's a rock and hockey hit, and unfortunately, it's with his own player, Charlie Hessel. Oh, Jesus.
That looked like it hurt.
Hey boys, keep your head up next time and watch out for each other. Back to the interview. Now, being a skill development guy for almost 30 years now, I talk to players, thousands and thousands of players about scoring goals, and I try to explain to them there's a difference between shooting the puck and being a goal scorer, or shooting to score. Mm-hmm. And I see players been doing it for 30 years. I shoot pucks all the time, but you watch them and they shoot 25 pucks and 17 of them are off the glass, 3 of them are wide, and maybe they get 2 good quality shots, or they're shooting in their driveway. And it's the same thing. Is they're just shooting the puck. They're not shooting to score. And in my eyes, there's a huge difference between shooting the puck and shooting to score. I don't know if you have a theory on that or a comment.
Well, it's funny because where I live, in the development I live, there's a young fellow that was in his driveway. This was not this past summer, the summer before. And as I'm walking down the street, he's shooting puck in the driveway. And I walk up to him and I said, "You a hockey player?"
Did he know who you were?
No. No, he didn't know.
This is a funny story, I bet.
He goes, I said, "You a hockey player?" He says, "Yeah." He says, "You play?" He says, "Yeah." I said, "Can I ask you a question?" Okay. Why, when you shoot the puck, you fall away from it?
Yep.
He goes, "What do you mean?" "Well, let me show you. Give me your stick." He said, "You see, you've been taking lots of shots while I'm walking down the street, and I see you doing this all the time. You're doing this. Your stick comes up. What's going to happen to are you trying to raise it, or are you trying to put some power into it?" And I said, "Why don't you follow through? Put your weight behind it and follow through." And all of a sudden, I'm walking down, and I'm 2 houses down, and he goes, "Did you used to play?" I just turned around and went,
A little bit.
"A little bit."
Oh, that's great. That's great. Tell us some of your favorite memories of being a hockey player, whether it's kid, NHL, coaching.
Well, obviously, I've
Kid friendly.
Oh, I'm kid friendly. I've had the luxury of being able to play a game, and that's my biggest memory is how much fun it was to be able to do that and do it to the point. I've always been known for my work ethic on the ice, and I think the fans in Buffalo and in Detroit appreciated that. If you're going to do something, don't do it half-heartedly.
Right.
You got to put 100% in behind it.
Yes, one more highlight reel goal as Andy Dotes gets a bad case of the dangles and puts this one in for the goal. Great goal, Andy. Wow, that's not a case of dangleitis. I've never seen one. Great goal, Andy. Thanks to our friends at Piranha Hockey World. Back to the interview. Now, if you had to pass on some advice to either a young player or parents of young players, what would it be?
Again, I can go back to the same thing. The reason I played, have fun. It's a game. And when people start when coaches, when parents start taking the fun out of the game, you're asking them to quit. Nobody likes doing something they're forced to do. Nobody likes doing something they're not having fun at. You learn more when you're having fun. And I think that to me, that is the key to any sport nowadays, because life gets too serious too fast. And if you want your kids to excel, let them have a good time with it. Don't let them slack off.
Right.
But let them have a good time doing it. Find a way to make it fun for them.
Well, fun is a theme here in the Rock and Hockey Show. And back in your era when you played, now they call it old time hockey or old school. Do you like that term or no?
Don't mind it. I don't mind it. We were a few years back. We were talking to I was at a birthday party for my mother. And my daughter had asked me, she goes, "Daddy, would your team win playing against the teams of today?" And I have an older brother who spent 15 years in the NHL. And I said, "You need to go ask your Uncle Rod that same question, because I'm pretty sure we have the same answer." And he basically said to her, he said, "If we played under today's rules, they'd kick our butt. But if we played under our rules, we'd kick theirs." Because it's a different time, it's a different era.
Now, you guys, there's a lot of players that have long hair when you're playing these days, but nothing like what you guys had, in the 70s.
Oh, the mullets. Look it up. Look up what a mullet is. Who's that one singer there? That's
Billy Ray Cyrus?
Billy Ray Cyrus. There you go.
You guys had, in the 70s, though, there were locks everywhere, though. You guys had some good flow going on there.
Oh, yeah.
What?
What are you doing?
I'm getting my hair ready
Why?
for the Rock and Hockey show.
Why?
You know, go with the flow. Done.
Rick, thanks so much for coming on the show.
My pleasure, Dave.
Good morning, rockers and hockers, and thanks for tuning in to the Rock and Hockey Show on another episode of Skate to Be Great. And it's a beautiful, frigid and frosty morning here. About a half an hour ago, I think when I checked the temp, it was... That's 2. That's not a peace sign. 2 degrees out, so it's nice and chilly. But we're going to get at it and get some skating in here. Skate to Be Great on the Rock and Hockey Show. Hey, what's up, everyone? Chilly morning, so I'm going to do this quickly here. I'm going to... Wrong skate. Nothing profound to say today, but hope you guys would like the skating videos. Remember this from the book of Dave is the day you pay attention to your skating is the day you become a better skater. If that's not profound, I don't know what is. Anyway, today we are going to focus on crossovers now on Skate to Be Great. We're going to do several exercises, working on, again, balance, leg strength, edge work, and then further down in a few later episodes, working on how to apply all that into situational skating. Got lots of layers on today to stay warm. Flooded the rink last night, so nothing better than hearing those skates hit the ice for the first time, especially on a nice, smooth, crisp surface when it's 2 degrees out. That's not peace, that's 2. Yes, 2. All right, let's do this and listen carefully to the sound. Crossovers. We're going to do lots of exercises, help us build our leg strength, our explosive motion, our inside-outside edges, our balance, our momentum, and the list goes on and on and on. Pretty cold out today, so I'm layered up. I'm rocking my state championship jacket. All right. Rock on for that one. So you may have heard me use the term jump or explode or bounce on your skates. So today when we're talking about crossovers over the next several series of Skate to Be Great videos, when we talk about crossovers or acceleration, we're going to talk about being able to bounce on your skates or jump on them for that quickness, and we want to have a lot of what I call springiness in your legs. Okay, what I mean by springiness is you don't want to land with heavy feet into the ice. You want to explode down into it, but then explode back out of it with just as much power as you went down in. Similar to like how a jackhammer works. When it goes down, it comes back up, and it goes in both directions, and that's how your legs need to work when you're working on accelerating, okay? And an analogy I like to use is, or a comparison I like to use is to a tennis ball, okay? You take a tennis ball and you drop it, what does it do? It bounces. Oh, what in the world do I got here? Tennis ball, okay? It bounces when you drop it, okay? But how does it bounce? Well, let me tell you. When you drop the tennis ball, it bounces, but it bounces actually slower. But it does have springiness in it when it bounces. Okay? I'm not throwing it, I'm just letting gravity do its thing, and it bounces back up, but it does bounce slower. Nevertheless, has springiness. If I throw it hard, then it comes down, so more force down, more force back up again, okay? Now, take a super ball, okay, and when you drop this, it actually bounces faster off the surface than it goes down. It comes up with more speed, all right, then it goes down. And at least it doesn't lose any speed, okay? But when I put any force going down, it comes up with a lot more speed than it goes down on. Again, I don't work for NASA. I'm just telling you how your legs should work. But so you want your legs to work like this bouncy ball, this super ball. When you go down into the ice, you're going to explode down with those leg muscles, but then you have to spring off of them with at least the same amount of force coming back off the ice, and it's constantly up and down in order to accelerate properly. Okay, so we don't want to have heavy feet. We don't want that hesitation. We want to be explode right off there. It sounds just like that. Okay, so those of you who have never been shot out of a cannon, try it sometime. It's exhilarating, but that's how we're going to work on our acceleration when we do get into crossovers and quick starts, learning how to be explosive. Okay, this first exercise is going to be big explosive crossovers. We're going to start on in a hockey position. We're going to have two hands on our stick because our stick is always our steering wheel. It's going to be on the ice. It's going to steer me left or right. Even though I'm not zigzagging a lot, I'm more of a straight line almost. But I will be moving left and right a little bit, so I might stick to steer me. I want to keep my forward momentum, and I'm going to explode as big as I can, as hard as I can with a jump, crossover jump, land in my hockey position, and repeat side to side. I can also do this backwards. Okay, the next exercise is going to be just the opposite, where I'm going to work on foot speed, but not necessarily generating a lot of power. I'm going to bounce on my skates, be light on my feet, and I'm going to move my feet in a crossover side to side as fast as I can, again working on speed. Now remember, speed comes from power that you generate, okay? So you can move your feet, I don't care how fast you move your feet, if you're not generating any power, you're only going to go so fast. So we want to work on generating power, and then we want to learn how to do it quickly. Okay, that gets your blood going first thing in the morning. Notice on both those exercises, I am using my inside and outside edges. I'm steering with my stick, and it's on the ice so that my momentum is moving in a forward direction. Again, you can also repeat that drill backwards too, okay? But even from the small ones to the big ones, same motion, okay? One's for power, one's for speed. Now we're gonna put them together. Now I'm gonna do an exercise which is not gonna generate power, but it's gonna generate a lot of springiness. But I'm going to get my knees up so that I can use my leg muscles, so when I do want to generate power, the motion is already set to go, okay? So I'm going to be really light and springy on my feet. I'm going to get my knees up, and I'm going to try to keep my forward momentum. I'm only going to go maybe a third to half speed tops here, okay? So it's a crossover motion. Exercise I just did, and now instead of going third to half speed, I'm going to go half to three-quarter speed. Same technique. I'm just going to apply more pressure down into the ice and be more springy coming back off, so that energy comes back up. Now we're going to take that same exercise and we're going to apply our power, our springiness, our good technique, our forward momentum, all into our crossovers at full speed now. Okay, so we're applying all that stuff. We're going to generate that power by getting that knee drive going like we just practiced, okay? And that power is going to go down into the ice and right back up again. Now, I'm going to share with you something that's top secret. Okay, I don't know if I have approval from the CIA for this. It might still be locked in a vault somewhere at Area 51, but listen closely, okay? I know I've said I don't work in NASA, but this is pretty deep stuff here. That's why I'm not sure I should even be sharing it with you, but listen carefully, okay? We want to go fast, okay? So every crossover, first of all, we do crossovers to gain speed while we're changing directions, okay? Gain speed while we're changing directions. We don't want to just do crossovers for the fun of it. Lots of times you see, I know I'm going off on a tangent, bear with me here. You see kids doing circles or coming out of a stop or a turn, and they do a crossover because that's what they've always been taught.
but they are not gaining any speed. As a matter of fact, they're losing speed because it's such a sloppy and almost wasted step right there, because they're not used to generating power, or they're not trying to generate power. So we don't ever want to just do crossovers to do crossovers. We want to do crossovers to gain speed while we're changing direction. So every time that foot hits the ice, whether it's your inside or outside edge, we are looking to gain speed. And we'll talk more in detail when we do stopping and acceleration with our crossovers, okay? So anyway, keep that tangent in mind because it's going to come back here, okay? So where was I? Oh yeah, area 51. Okay, so we're back at area 51, or NASA. It might be in both locations, but anyway, for every crossover in one direction, okay, for one crossover step, you're actually getting, can you see that? 1, 2, 3 pushes. All right, so when I cross over to my left, I'm getting 3 pushes. When I cross over to my right, I'm getting 3 pushes. That is, for all you math experts, that's a total of 6 pushes per one crossover in each direction, okay? And that's how we're going to gain speed, okay? You see a lot of players do what looks like almost like galloping, where they're only using their outside edge to gain speed, and their inside edge is not doing anything. It's doing the motion, but it's not generating any power, okay? So we want to learn to generate power off of every edge push that we get in a crossover, okay? So if I'm going to cross over this direction, okay, as I cross over, all right, you're going to think, well, I'm going to push off with my outside edge. Yes, that is correct. However, before I get there, it's actually 2 inside edges and 1 outside edge, okay? So it starts with this inside edge. Notice my stick is leading me. Starts with that inside edge. There's my push. There's my outside edge crossover. That's 1. That's 2. And then there's 3 right there. All right, and then I start the process coming back. Inside edge, push, push, push. Okay? Push, 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 push. Okay? And that outside one is the one that gets missed a lot of times because you land on it and you're either hesitating or it's doing nothing. We want to make sure that even on that outside, right, bam, right there, we're springing right up. Spring, 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 spring. So every step, I'm gaining speed by springing off that. Notice my knees are coming up to help me generate power, okay? So it looks like this. So if you can count to 3, it's a 3 count for every one crossover step. Just don't tell anybody where you got this information because it is top secret. And you learned it here on the Rock and Hockey Show. Let's review today what we learned on Skate to Be Great. We learned about crossovers. We also learned how to not waste crossovers. We always want to try to gain speed while we're using crossovers. We learned about how to have springiness and that bounciness in your step, or call it jumping, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same thing, okay? We also learned about those top secret 3 pushes, and don't forget, you learned that right here in the Rock and Hockey Show. We also learned about tennis balls, super bouncy balls, NASA, Area 51. I mean, seriously, where else can you get information like this? So make sure you subscribe, bam, check us out on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and hey, turn that stick sideways and bam. Don't forget to rock and roll.
Whoa, Hawkins! No wonder you punched so hard.
Hey, you should check out Chata. I did.
Your Rock and Hockey reporter. Today I am here with Rick. Hi Rick, how are you?
Good. Quinn, yourself?
Good. Oh yes. So as a child, did you always want to be a professional hockey player?
No, not at all. I never wanted to be a hockey player. It's something I grew up, and I grew up having fun playing a game, and it's just something that evolved from always progressing and moving forward with it, but never grew up with the idea of wanting to be a hockey player.
What was your most memorable moment during your hockey career, and why is it so important to you?
Well, we were playing the Russian national team, the Red Army team, in Buffalo one night, and we beat them 6-3. Nice. And in goal, and that team was one of the most commemorated team in the Russian history. Volkov, Tretiak, all these big names up there. And I scored 2 goals that night on Vladislav Tretiak, who was considered the best goaltender in the world at that time.
That's great.
So that was a very memorable experience for me.
So thank you so much for this interview. And now back to the Rockin' Hockey Show.
We're back to the Rockin' Hockey
Hockey
Show. And good job, buddy.
Check out Charlotte's awesome brunch every Sunday. Now let's rock!
Check out Trotta. TrottaRocksHistory.com.
I'm Tyler, and you're watching the Rockin' Hockey Show.